Hey everybody, what's up and welcome to the Sailor Tortilla channel. We're doing something a little different for the next 9-ish weeks. These are my friends, Melissa Berne from the amazing Melissa Berne channel where she reviews movies, TV shows, all that fun stuff. And our friend Andres. Oh my God, I can hear myself over there on YouTube. Hold on. That's not right. Andres doesn't have a channel yet, but he will. So please be on the lookout. This crew has been together for the last year or so. We have been doing Silo, House of the Dragon. So if you're into all those shows, we're into them too. I know you normally come for Sailor Moon. No Sailor Moon today, only Severance, which is a very good show. I highly recommend it. And I see some of the friends are here in the chat. So I'll just let you guys introduce yourself. Melissa, you can let us know what you're working on, and then we'll just have Andres jump in.
Yes. Can you hear me? I feel like technology is against me. Okay, cool. What am I working on? I am working on my personal growth. And also, I'm trying to get to 25 movie reviews, guys, but it's hard, to be honest. I'm not always in the mood. This is like behind the scenes stuff. But we'll see how that goes. I'm even considering maybe getting that A-list too undressed. I'll get it for like a few months.
There you go.
But no promises. Because I do want to do more movie reviews. And I feel like January is a nice fresh start to everything, to all things that you want to try to do. So, just trying to make it do what it do. But yeah, catch me on YouTube. I'm also on Instagram, and you can find me on those platforms.
Awesome.
Andres, plug your pluggables.
For sure. I'm not on anything, but I guess maybe I will make a YouTube at some point because I do have AMC A-list and I've seen like 5 movies in the theater this year. So I could get to those 25 reviews, I think, Melissa, and then we could both join the Critics Association.
Yeah, you in South Florida Critics Association. I'll be in Central Florida Critics Association.
Yeah.
Doing it.
We just need someone in the north. The north. I think one thing that I want to share about this crew is that we are all movie lovers. We really have a critical eye, different areas of expertise. Like I'm more into anime, Melissa's into thrillers. Andres, you really love actually good films.
I try.
And we're really excited to talk about Severance, but I'm going to warn everybody watching, we will probably occasionally tell you what we're watching at the same time. But we're going to cover 2 very exciting episodes of Severance Season 2. This is a TV show that, oh gosh, a little bit of history. So me and Andres kind of saw it when it came out, right? Like 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And we asked Melissa on her Silo podcast literally last week to watch all of season 1. And it looks like you did it. How was that? Could you just, as the person who's fresh on season 1, maybe some of our watchers are fresh on that too. So how did you feel about that?
Yeah, well, I was bullied to do this podcast, but it was fine because I was off for MLK Day. So I took the time to just binge it because I did end up watching it when it premiered, but I just never finished it for whatever reason. So then I just went back all the way to episode 1 to like restart it because I don't remember anything. And it was a ride. I think the acting is very good. It is also very beautiful to look at. It's very like meticulous. Everything is so like just like big and wide and open. I think it's kind of like, oh, what happened to Andres?
Sorry, I wanted us all to have equally sized things.
I don't know why you're like the biggest person. What did you do?
I thought it was just your ego.
I thought it was like how she set it up on purpose.
Yeah.
I thought it was gonna, I don't know, we'll just like add a little
She's like, it's my channel.
Anyway, you can go. Oh,
this works too.
This is egalitarian. This is equality.
Okay. What was I saying? Oh yeah, so I think it's good. I do think it's kind of slow, and I'm not always a fan of slow burns, but in the last episode of season 1, things happened, and I did like that episode. And so it was enough to keep me intrigued, but this is definitely kind of like it's a sort of a version of a slow burn. So yeah, there's that.
I think that's a fair point. But it's a very well-structured show, and I guess we'll just dive into the excitement of season 2. The first 2 episodes, we know that first one starts with, spoiler warning for Severance season 2. We're going to do fingers here. So episode 1 really just starts off where season 1 ended. It's amazing. And fortunately for us who are doing 2 episodes at once, structurally, it will be very easy to cover both of these episodes at the same
Yeah.
time, I think. So, in summary, the innies, they got outie. And apparently, there was some kind of a macrodat uprising. It wasn't really a thing. We know that after episode 2. But yeah, let's just dive in. That opening shot, I've been listening to the Severance podcast with Ben Stiller, and they really, really made that first shot as a labor of love. All season long, they were apparently trapped filming all these scenes with a big camera. And oh man, that was so boring for me as a watcher.
Oh, you were bored with the opening shot.
Like
Okay.
Quite
technically
a bit,
it's
huh?
Huh.
yeah.
Okay.
I mean, what did you guys? I like technically it's great, but like I just wanted to see where he was going, where he was running to.
I just remember thinking, I just specifically remember it kind of gave the Groundhog Day effect because you only see the any like living the same moment. It felt like, and I thought that was actually pretty cool because I don't remember if there was a shot like that in season 1 because it really kind of made it feel like a nightmare. Like, oh my God, he has no break. Like this office is all he knows. I felt like horrified by that. So I thought that was really well done because it kind of really captured what that must feel like. But I feel like the way it feels doesn't really show how on his face or his mood because they all seem relatively happy at some point. They're not all happy now, but at some point they were all kind of like living life. But I really appreciated that POV that they showed us for that first shot in episode 1.
Yeah, I appreciated it. I had gone back actually. I didn't watch like the full season 1 again, but I did see the pilot again. And if you watch the pilot, it was something I hadn't remembered. It was very striking how long it takes Mark to get to his like actual office once he goes down the elevator. And it's obviously more slow and just like chill, regular day at work in the pilot. But in this one, he's obviously like running through all the hallways and they did all of that shot. But what obviously stuck out to me the most was the fact that it had been 3 years between the last season of Severance
I don't
and
know
this
how y'all do that.
opening shot of season 2, and I felt like that was kind of an homage to you waited this long. We're not going to give you anything less than like 100% effort, and it starts with this jazzy, really technically difficult opening shot.
I like that you mentioned the music. The music of this show is very good, very memorable. Melissa was telling us backstage that she has the theme song stuck in her head.
Yeah.
And yeah, those 3 years, I felt those 3 years. I felt them.
I
I
bet you
really
did.
did.
I don't know how you guys
I
didn't
mean,
go
can you
crazy.
imagine? He was
Yeah.
like, "She's alive!"
Yes,
Credits.
then cut.
No.
I've seen so many people online that are trying to catch up because their friends are telling them to, like Melissa, who did a great job this week. And all of them were like, "How did people wait
How did
3
you
years?"
wait?
But you know,
That
By
was a
watching
crazy
House of the
ending.
Dragon and
I
Silo.
House
guess,
of the
but
Dragon, Succession. Also, we do have lives outside of this. I do, at least. I don't know about Melissa.
I have no reason to live. I just have podcasts. Obviously.
Speaking about lives, let's pretend we're all in the macrodat uprising. You on a Friday night, it's 7 o'clock. Dylan has just activated the overtime contingency. I'm going to start with undress this time. Where do you find yourself and what do you do?
That is a great question. I would probably be watching Great British Bake Off on Netflix with my wife. So that would be cool. It's kind of like Dylan is the only one who really has like a wife and kids
Oh yeah.
outside of the office. And so that was the big thing is he got to see his kid that one time. And I think that's like kind of the most special thing you could find outside of work is be like, wow, I actually have like a
Family.
fulfilling life. Everyone else kind of has some dark stuff that they run into, which makes sense considering though it would take a lot of darkness to get that severance procedure done.
That's very true, actually. Melissa, where did you find yourself?
Where would I find myself? It like my Audi, like where would I be?
Yeah.
That's a great question. Maybe I would be busy traveling somewhere, like out of the state, out
Can
of
you
the
imagine
country.
being in a
Ooh.
plane after never seeing a plane?
I mean, I don't know. Because I feel like if I'm separated from my work life, I will take advantage of that. Like I'm not gonna have any fucks to give. I'm gonna fuck off somewhere else. I'm gonna go visit Greenland. Because why the hell not? Okay.
It's funny that you mentioned traveling because in the first episode they're like, "Did you look at the sky?" Everyone's like obsessed with the sky and
Oh
stuff.
yeah.
One of those
Because they've
things
never seen
that
the sun
is
and stuff.
random. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you'd be in the sky, which is one way to
I would
look
be
at
in
it.
the sky. I'd be traveling somewhere. Because if I've never have to go to work again, because I separated my brain in some way, gotta live it up. Gotta live it up.
Yeah, I know I would also find myself on the couch. My husband would probably be there. He would probably be very entertaining. Very entertaining. But, I don't know if I would stay on the couch or I would physically leave. I think I would probably jump on the internet if I knew what the internet was. Maybe I would try to do some research,
Mhm.
but on what? I'm not sure.
It's hard to say because you don't know what your innie would be interested in finding out, you know?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Therein lies the issue.
Yeah. I
I feel
mean,
so bad for the innies. The innies are effectively dead if they're not there, and I
well,
think that this season's gonna talk about that. Yeah, go ahead.
this is my whole issue. This kind of like the conundrum with me because I'm like, did you guys not read the fine print? Like, why are they all like, I don't know. Did you all consented to this? Didn't they tell you that, these are like the risks? This is what can happen. Like completely, you will not have memories of either world when you're in or out. So it's like,
Yeah.
why are they tripping so much?
That goes to the earlier point that they all kind of have like some issues with their outer world, except for Dylan is the most straightforward, right? Dylan is the most
Unless we
like
don't know.
we
But
found out in episode 2 this time that he just has a short work history everywhere else and he's never really fit
mm,
into any job before. So this is like the only thing he's been able to
hold
hold
down.
down. Yeah.
And they all have different personalities inside and outside, which is kind of like, I don't know, I feel like the show's talking about a lot. But in that first episode, we know that Mark enters, he's got a brand new team, and they say some very concerning things about the condition of their wing or department. I don't even know if they're from a different state.
There's one guy who's from Italy.
Yes, and his department didn't have elevators. It had, what was it, ropes?
They were
Like
known as
literally ropes.
they were
Oh
known for being
yeah.
the poor part of the company there because he had a little plate, but it was made of wood. I was like, this is sad.
Yeah, their
Yeah.
museum was just like brooms with faces on them or something. Was that?
Yeah, like calling out Italy, poor country.
And then so we know a little bit about where some of them are from because he's from, was it Italy? Is that where he was
Yeah.
from?
I don't
Okay.
even wanna say it's Italy, I don't wanna get in trouble.
Well, it's
We
the
might have some
show.
very
It's
nice
the
Italians with
show.
us here.
We might be wrong, but he was from another country.
Yeah.
And then the other guy, uh, Mark W. or whatever, there was a guy also named Mark, bald
Yeah.
guy.
Yeah.
And then in episode 2, we see him on the outside kind of complaining that he's just been let go. And he's like, I just gave up a lease in Des Moines. Is that what he said? Des Moines, I
Oh,
think
is
it
that
was.
right? Okay, so that
Or,
answers the
or Grand
question.
Rapids.
Grand Rapids.
That's what it was.
Grand
Sorry.
Rapids is in
Confusing my
Michigan.
Iowa
Yeah.
towns. Is it? Oh no. Is it Michigan?
I believe
I,
it's Michigan. The
All
thing
right.
about, the thing about Kier, because 'cause they're in a fictional town called Kier in the show, but I know that that building is in New Jersey. So I don't know if they are in New Jersey. That poor guy, though. I mean, he's gotta sue him again. He said he was gonna sue him
Yeah.
again.
yeah.
I got really scared when I saw the trailer and that he had a new team. I was like, "Oh my god, am I not gonna see John Turturro all season long?" I'm very glad that that's not what happened. Do love the characters though. I guess they're dead. I think sometimes the show is about life and death and all these big things, but maybe we'll get there in a couple episodes. What was the other thing about those guys? Well, they're lame. They're dead. They're
One of them.
gone.
Yeah. I mean, do you think we'll see them again though in the season? Like further? No.
No. What
Kind
do
of
you
cast.
think?
I don't know. I don't know.
I don't
I was
know.
happy to see them in episode 2, especially the old guy complaining. Apparently, he's in a
Right.
lot of, like, movies like Goodfellas, I think. I have to fact check that.
I mean,
Um
I've seen him before, and then the girls from Arrested Development, Elia Shockman.
Oh,
Oh yeah, yeah. She has a very familiar face. I know I've seen her in other stuff.
Yeah, she's maybe from Arrested Development.
And then
yeah.
the now there's a kid, which she didn't appear in episode 2, but she was in episode 1, and I text you guys in our group chat, but I thought she had one of the funniest lines. Like, why are you a child? Because of when I was born. I was like, this is funny.
That was a very Ben Stiller kind of
That was
coded
great.
thing. I have read a couple theories on the internet. This
Uh-huh.
is not my personal theory, but I'm going to throw it at you guys. Some people think they're doing cloning. They think she might be a clone of Gemma.
I've seen that online as well, that there may be clones.
I don't think so,
Yeah.
though.
The other like theory I had is just maybe she just looks the way she looks to Mark. Like when they're looking at their computer, it's kind of clear that
They're seeing something.
they're
that's not
seeing
good.
something that's not what they're actually doing. So there is kind of an element of they can make them see things that they want them to see.
Ooh.
So I wonder if that's what's going on. Um,
I think it's
I
spooky
don't know.
dooky, and I don't like it.
It is.
When they had her face flash,
Yes,
I'm like positive that's what he's looking at.
it happened really quick. So then, but you're saying like, oh, okay, we're back to our.
I
Okay.
feel more comfortable like this. I like to show my toys.
I like seeing our big faces. Can we zoom? Well, I guess for next time we could zoom in our cameras a little bit.
Melissa, this is my first time using this app.
Oh, I thought you used Restream
Oh.
before. Sorry, we're
No,
rejecting.
I just get invited to podcasts and I always say yes.
We're
Yay.
talking about how the sausage is made now.
Yes, we are.
Behind the
We're not
scenes.
rookies at all.
I'm not
No, that
paying
was
for a
me.
license on this program. I'm using the free version.
You're using
Oh,
the free version, but I don't see the logo here.
Mm. I'm an innie. Maybe
maybe you
that's
have
think you're- I
maybe you
think
have a
you're
free
paying for
trial.
it. Oh, free trial.
Huh. Oh, that's okay. Whatever.
Either it's free trial or you're paying for it and you don't know because there's no logo.
Listen, if this is anything like Lumen, there's a bunch of things that I probably agreed to without knowing what they are. There's that line
Yeah.
There you
in
go.
episode 2 where Milchick is like, "Oh, you did sign off on the overtime contingency. The OTC is in your contract." Oh no. Lumen's just like any other company.
Yeah.
And
I
the
do love
people
that.
are
Oh
just
yeah,
like
go
any
ahead.
other. The people are just like any other people that don't read everything.
Oh, for
This
sure.
is true. We don't always read everything, but sometimes if you are paranoid and anxious like I am, you question a lot of things though. You know, like why is this that? What is this here? Why? How?
I think like if you're going to get a chip put in your brain, you should probably have like a lawyer. Just
I mean, we
read
also
Didn't read
everything.
the contract.
do we know how old the technology is? It's been a long time since I saw season 1.
Everything looks
Well,
old though. That's the other
yeah.
comment. Like the computers look like they're from the 80s. The cars outside
The
the parking lot
cars.
look really old.
Cars.
And
Yeah, I think it's just another
it's another Earth,
universe
right?
altogether.
Yeah.
No.
I think so too. I don't think it's later than the 90s. In season 1, there's a moment where Cobell, when she was pretending to be the lactation consultant, she said, "Oh, I wouldn't recognize Clark Gable if I gave birth to him," and that seemed like a dated reference. But this goes into my theory about what they're doing in the show. We'll get to that at the end. I don't know. I think it's the 90s. I think it's an alternate 90s, I would say. But Milchick does have a very fancy phone.
I don't remember what his phone looks like.
It's
I think it was in episode 2, but I do like his new nickname, Milkshake.
Milkshake.
I love it.
Saw that on some videos. It's like easier to remember.
When you guys saw the first episode, did you recognize the voice in the commercial
yes.
that they gave them?
Yes.
Oh, you recognized it? I didn't.
Yeah. Really?
Mm-mm. And I just watched Sonic 3. I should have known.
He was doing
Sonic
it
3
kind
was
of
very good. What?
he was doing a different intonation in Sonic 3. He's kind of the antagonist most of the way, and then in this one he's like, "Welcome to Lumen."
I'm a big building.
And by the way, since we haven't mentioned it yet, it is Keanu Reeves
Yes.
doing the voice in the episode 1, the
Mhm.
claymation.
Every
Which
time
is
a
another
character
thing that
appears-
probably took a long time to do. Did they talk about that on the Severance podcast?
I can say that they did speak about the new opening sequence. It's
Did
CGI. It's an artist that Ben Stiller found on Instagram
Nice.
and hired him.
Love that.
Or was that
Wow.
the season 1 one? Because he won an Emmy. Actually, that was the season 1 one. I don't know if the same
Okay.
guy did season 2.
I mean,
But
they
season
look pretty
2,
similar.
they do. I
I
thought it was claymation.
the opening theme changed so much, and I haven't gotten a chance to like watch the video breakdowns of like what they added and stuff. But I was like, whoa, this looks so much more intricate now. It changed it a
I thought
lot.
it was good. I haven't watched it again, so I know that there's like the heads float away. There's a baby
Oh, yeah.
Kier. We got to
There's like
talk
a
about Kier,
car going into like really cold water. Like, isn't that how his wife died? And like, we'll find out more about
but
that.
she was
Probably.
burnt.
Was she?
That's what he said in
Yeah,
episode.
he did say that at the end, and she did fall into a like an icy something.
This kind of like duo of
I don't
episodes is
know.
very interesting. They
Yeah.
like both happen at the same time. I love that we're covering both at the same time. Ooh, they changed the building. We've got a creepy painting of people with their heads sticking out and Kier forgiving them. Forgiving them?
Yeah,
I don't
yeah, that
remember.
was weird.
When I was watching the first episode, I did suspect that they were lying about the timeline.
Yeah,
But I
Oh,
never thought that it was like 48 hours.
I believe it.
yeah. I mean, it made absolute sense once you saw episode 2. The timeline, I don't know if I thought about it too much, but obviously I kind of instantly knew they weren't heroes on the outside.
Yeah,
Oh no. Lumen is
That
clearly evil and
yeah.
clearly a cult. They talk very strangely.
Yeah, and it extends far, right? Because the whole name of the town is Kier.
Kier.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's
And I
built.
think I saw a video where said there were some other like people within Lumen that had things named after them in the town if you look like closely enough.
That's really interesting.
Like
Like,
the
is it
restaurant
the diner?
Pips.
Yeah.
Yeah, the diner Pips. I think there was somebody in Lumen named Pip at some point in season 1 that was
Huh.
supposed to be. Yeah.
Yeah. Lumen's bizarre. I don't know what the point of like putting that painting there was for the innies. Like, was it supposed to scare them? Like, clearly it's to show a change, but I don't know.
Well, I guess if it's
There's a
him
whole thing about
forgiving
pineapples.
if it's
Mhm.
him forgiving 4 people, then it's just like a symbol of like, things are changing. We forgive you for what you did. Blah blah blah.
It could
But yeah, the
be, but I gotta
pineapples.
talk
Go for
about
it.
pineapples. So, in episode 2, we saw a lot of pineapples. We even saw pineapples in that little video in episode 1 where they were bobbing for pineapples. Very strange object to bob for. Um, Interesting fact, a pineapple, if you cut off the top, that's how you grow a new pineapple. You don't need the rest of the fruit, just the top. And people on the internet have been saying that the people with their heads in the painting might be like pineapples and they might be growing new hosts
Real
for
people.
Kier.
Mm.
Mm. This whole perpetuity wing thing has had me thinking since season 1. But we're getting there. I know that the innies were all meeting. We all met everybody. John Turturro came back. Dylan came back. Helly was the last one to come back, but
Okay, but is Helly
will
really
it hurt?
Helena down there? Because I think it's Helena.
Let's discuss. I don't know.
I
I
think
I thought it was Helena in
Hel-
episode 1,
Helena. I think it's her
Yeah.
down there.
but I watched it again, and it could be Helly.
Yeah. I mean, there's something they haven't made it clear yet for a reason, but I think there's a ton of clues that it is Helena, and it would make more sense if they, you know, sent her
You think that
down
would
there
be
to
more
kind of.
interesting?
Well, I'm just saying, like from the character's perspective, it would make more sense to send her down there to like kind of
Watch.
squash things, whereas Helly is like a known wild card and stuff.
Mhm.
And then I think is it in episode 1 where they're first talking, and obviously she lies about what happened to her on the outside. That's kind
Yes,
of
she
sketchy.
does.
But she also like when Milchek tells them like there's nobody's listening in, she kind of re-emphasizes that point, like nobody's
You can
listening.
talk. Tell
Yeah.
me.
So I thought that was weird.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then when John
Yeah.
Turturro leaves, she's like, "Let's go together," and Dylan's like, no."
I like
And
how
John
John
Turturro,
Turturro was
he
his character
whispered.
was like a night gardener. A night gardener. So
Is
I
that a
like that he
thing?
might be the one that could be like onto her little plot holes. And I was like, yes, please, somebody pay attention.
I think Irv knows far more than he lets on. I think he's like, we
Yeah.
saw that he has files in his house on
Yes.
Lumen employees.
Very mysterious.
Like, is he involved with the lady that was removing the chips? I don't know.
Possibly. He goes on the payphone and talks to somebody
Oh, that's
in
right. And then
episode
he's
2.
being spied on his crush.
Yeah. So in
How
episode
does his
2, let's talk
Audi
about that.
know him? I just
That's the
realized that.
thing. We don't know. And who was he calling? Like, if he said, like, there was a part where he said, I know why you didn't answer. Is it because the lady's lying low? Because they just murdered a guy like a week prior. Do
That's
you
right.
remember that?
Oh yeah, yeah. This I think some security guy.
Yes, he
Yeah.
was the guy with the card, and they legit murdered him, which
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure Mark still is not over. Like, it's very hard to like take
Oh, yeah.
actual real spatial time and put it back into the TV show because it has been 3 real years here.
Yeah.
But all of this is pretty fresh. Clearly, the 5 months is not a real thing. They're
Mhm.
probably still investigating that. I'm sure they're investigating that. But he calls on the phone. He says, My innie got the message. And he
Mhm.
could have called her. He could have called if he knew Bert. Like, I don't know if he knows Bert outside, but like maybe he does know Bert outside. Oh,
He
what
knows
is that?
of him.
Right?
Thumbs up.
So
Yeah,
maybe he's
there's
telling
he's
him,
got like
like,
a he's got like some kind of chart or map with like people's names on it.
yep.
Hmm.
And then he
Which
was
is,
following him. He was following him in the car.
I think what's so interesting about it too, again, having like rewatched the pilot recently, is that on the outside, Irv is like the most like kind of paranoid, trying to figure things out. And then on the inside, at least at the beginning, he was the most like just loved coming to work every
Well,
day. And he
yeah.
had that joke like, "Hey kids, what's for dinner?"
Yeah.
Just a guy
I
who loves going to
They're
work.
all little children. They're
that's what I
little
said.
babies.
That's what I said earlier. Like in the beginning of the show, they all loved being there. Like they didn't mind the Groundhog Day of this, and then things started to disintegrate. But I do have a question. If his Audi is super suspicious or doing his own research, I have questions like why. And if you are feeling suspicious, why don't you just resign? Are you not interested in resigning because you want to find out what Lumen is doing and like take them down?
I
Is
think
that
that's kind of what it is that he wants to be connected. He's the mystery is enticing.
Mhm. Okay? Okay. Because I do have
What
like,
else?
why don't you just all quit? Like
I
I
think
don't
they
know.
like if they quit, they die.
But they
Well,
don't
she's
die.
asking why their Audis don't quit, right?
I think, well, Mark legitimately seemed to want to quit even in season 1 at the very end. He was telling Cobell that right before he switched. Because like if I was Mark and I got severed because of, my loved one dying, and I still felt as crappy as he does 2 years
Mhm.
later, it's not working.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So in his case, but Dylan clearly needs the money. Poor Dylan. Let's talk about, well, are we done with episode 1?
I thought we were
I
talking
think
about both at the same
we've
time.
been kind of
We're doing both.
seesawing back and forth, and it makes sense for the
Yeah,
way
because they
that the
broke
episodes are
together pretty
presented.
well. Because episode 2 answers questions for episode 1.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. I like that so much. You have no idea. There's some. I think I sent it to you guys, but on Reddit there's a video where someone put the innies kind of
Yes.
meeting up again in episode 1 at the same time as the scene from episode 2 where they're in the lockers getting ready. And if you they lined it up in
It
the
was
actual
amazing.
same amount of time, right? It's like this is
Yeah.
filmmaking. This is great. This is great stuff. Ew, did I just come off as host? I try to answer the comments and it says host on my end. Okay, that was weird.
I don't see anything.
Host.
I see the comments, and you're just showing up as Sailor Tortilla.
Yeah, I just want to say
Yeah.
thank you to everyone who's sticking with us. I do see your comments. I know that we've got a lot of Sailor Moon comments in here. Maybe we'll get to them at the end. But I appreciate you all. But Severance is so dark. I love this dark, dark show.
It is dark
What
and
else?
it's complex. Okay, this is a
Mhm.
complex show.
And it doesn't, like, spell it out for the audience, which I
Mhm.
really appreciate. And then okay, so I want to talk about Helena. When I thought that Helena was pretending to be Helly, I wondered, like, how did she do the research? Is she gonna be able to pretend to be Helly? Episode 2 answered that for me. She's watched the videos. She's
Mhm.
seen that her innie is having a romance and, like, is touched by it. I have never like, I didn't like Helena. Why would we like Helena? And episode 2 made me root for Helena. Like, I
Why?
understand. I know why she would go in. And it like, you think she would go in for evil reasons and, like, figure out what happened, but now you're like, well, maybe she just lives this cultish life where she can't live, and maybe her innie is the only one who can live.
Yeah, I
Oh,
noticed that too. Like when she was watching the tape of her I see Chris Dang's
Chris
comment.
Dang.
Yes, it is better than Silo. And
It's
you
but
can
I
tell probably from watching this that we're actually talking about this
talking
show more.
about the show.
If you watch the Silo podcast, we're like, boy, this episode was really a 2 out of 5. Huh?
Yeah. What else did you guys watch this week? Was a lot of that podcast.
Yeah.
Talked about
For sure.
Wicked.
Yeah. What were we talking about? Heliar. Oh yeah, Helena.
Yeah,
I think.
Helena.
Yeah, it was interesting to see her watch the video of herself and Mark S on the inside, and there was definitely like a tinge of like jealousy or like I wish
That's interesting.
I was living this life. And then I think also the flip side of that is Mark S, like you said, he was about to quit, and then he has that conversation with Milchek where they tell him you're innie on the inside. Well, yes, they offer him more money, but the more interesting part was when he said that his innie on the inside was falling in love, and that if he allowed his innie to continue doing that, it would hopefully leak into like his real life. And I think that's what really sold him. Even though, yeah, 20%, I think we'd all take that.
Oh, you think
day
he wants
jobs.
to fall in love again?
Well, he wants to, yeah, he wants to feel love for sure because he's had loss, right?
Yeah, I didn't interpret Helena. Is it Helena? I want to pronounce it the other way. Helena's video watching as like jealousy. I thought she was just like kind of like trying to study the tape so that she could know the different relationships she has down there.
Yeah.
And I just kind of see her as kind of like this very cold,
Like,
calculating
yeah.
person. So I didn't really think that she feels jealous, but maybe she is, and we'll see more later on.
But you have to like kind of remember that they are like the same person, the innie and the outie. So like everything you like about Helly is still there in Helena. It's just she's in a completely different situation. So she does have that like kind of like the whatever love she has for Mark S. The outer version does have that like somewhere deep inside. So when she sees that, I do think the way they filmed it, that at least my interpretation of it was like she yearned. I see a lot of people on social media talk about yearning. Is that like a popular buzzword now?
I have no idea.
Yearning.
I think you're getting to something. I think you're getting to something that is there because if Milchik is telling Mark that this may bleed into your other personality, that implies that things bleed between the two personalities. Like Helly's feelings, like maybe like, you know, seeing that and feeling a little spark, some butterflies. And I think Irv specifically might be doing like a non-surgical reintegration by like he clearly stays up at night so that his falls asleep. His innie does see the paintings. He left the paint under his fingernails. And I think there's some kind of a pass through. Maybe that's what they're even doing in the computers. I don't know. Like we could talk about what we think they're doing in the computers, but I do want to talk about the door scene.
The door with the Dylan and his almost lookalike.
Oh my gosh, that was so good.
That's so funny.
I really enjoyed that. The jokes.
I was like, oh, this is comedy.
Tuck yourself away.
Talking about
because he was the pocket door.
A gloss finish.
And all those doors in the background, like like they could have just put them in a room.
Like applying for jobs, interviewing. Oh, so awful.
And Dylan seems so reserved outside of like his outie is so not his innie. I wish that he could take that part of himself and become more confident. He's sassy. He's sassy is what he is. But I'm very happy that not happy for him. It wasn't good, but I like seeing the way that he was treated. So we kind of understand more broadly, like what they're giving up when they get severed. We know that there were like movements, like pro Severance movements.
Oh, yeah. And we got to see discrimination in episode 2 where the potential employer was like, you're severed. You're not going to be considered. That is awful.
I don't even want to say it because I know it's controversial, but it kind of reminds me of people who use AI.
Yeah, maybe.
Like,
I'm not touching that. I'm not
it's just,
touching
it
that.
reminds me of like the way he was like, you piece of crap. Like and I was trying to find like some kind of like what work decision could you make that people would look down on you for?
Well,
And
think about it. If you
AI
have
was what came to
only
mind.
but if you've only worked Severed
Hmm.
and you're an Audi, you actually have no work history.
Yeah, I have a question. So then they Sever people are only at Lumen, right? It's not in any other company, right?
They
Like,
want to do severance in schools. And I don't
Oh,
know if they're actually doing it.
and that lady that got pregnant and didn't want to
oh yeah,
go
that's
through with the
okay.
labor.
It's in other places. That's right. Other people have experience being severed, but it's
Yeah.
clearly not something that's approved in every company though, because that guy at the
Well,
core company was like, no.
it seems
Mhm.
like the technology fundamentally is like a Lumen technology,
Yeah.
which they also make medicine.
Mm,
Because when Heliar is talking about what went wrong, she's like, I had alcohol with a non-Lumen medicine.
mm.
So they make medicine, they sever you. So I think the technology is from Lumen. So even that like pregnant lady got severed through Lumen somehow.
That speech was diabolical. Oh, I made some statements while I was drunk. No,
I
no.
know.
I thought the newspaper in episode 1 was real. I kept going,
Really?
wait, there's someone missing. Because I saw Mark,
So much
Dylan, and
redaction.
Helly. What?
There was a lot of things that were like blacked out though.
Yeah, but
In
the
the newspaper?
picture.
Yeah.
It looked like they were at like the Capitol, like giving a big
Oh,
speech.
I never bought into that. That was so
Ah,
far-fetched.
Hmm.
But
it was, but I thought like sometimes TV shows take a completely different turn that you don't expect.
I mean, that would have been
Um,
really interesting.
I did believe it. But it's bullshit. Everything with Lumen is bullshit. I'm pretty sure there's microphones in that room. They said there weren't microphones in. Um, but
Probably.
Lumen, okay. What in the world is going on at Lumen? So we saw in episode 2, Jamie, Egan, Kier's the first name, right?
Here's the first name.
Yeah,
Okay, so
Kiri.
Jamie tells Helena, fetid moppet.
I love that line.
I do too. And there was another word that Milkchick said that I loved, and it wasn't bewitched. Bedeviled was another word.
Yes.
Um,
Hmm.
I love this show. It's so fun. I've never heard the word bedeviled. I love it. I'm going to use it now. Um, Jamie Egan seems like a really nasty guy, and I
Jamie
can't.
Egan is her dad?
Yes,
Okay. All the characters.
and I can't remember in the season 1 finale if he was. I remember him being kind to her,
Yeah, he
saying, "I
was.
cried in my bed when you tried to commit
Mm, yeah,
unaliving."
unaliving. Yeah.
But the circumstances were different because she was about to give a great speech about how great the Severance program was, and then he was basically going
Sweet.
off on it. He was going off on her in this episode because of what happened. He called her a
But here's
fetid
my
muppet.
question. My question is his personality normally this mean guy and he was only nice to her the one time that she wasn't there? Or is he under control by another person?
Well, I think he's just kind of like all about Lumen, and if things are going well for Lumen, he's nice, and if things are not, he's not.
I just feel like he was like very like shaky and frail in episode 9, and then this one he's fitted muppet, and he just
He's
He's
got the
disappointed.
adrenaline from the anger.
Disappointed
yeah.
in her for not keeping things under control, right? Because obviously her any got control. He's very
Or
disappointed.
or see, I think that Helena is a vessel who is going to be taken over by Kier. I like sci-fi. I like all this stuff. I think this is about body swapping. I think that's why she's doing the computer exercises. And I think that he's pissed because he's going to become her and she already is creating a bad reputation for herself. Another different reason for him to be mad.
He's
But that
gonna
one's very
become her.
far-fetched.
Like he's gonna be in her body.
Yes. His
I think there
revolving
could be some kind of like
ritual.
resurrecting or ritual around Kier because it is like a cult, especially in the down below where the innies live. But yeah, I'm not thinking too far. I'll be honest, I'm not thinking too far ahead about what they're doing because I'm so into what's going on right now with like
Yeah, just along for the
their
ride.
those specific characters.
It
Mhm.
Yeah.
has been a very good ride.
Mhm.
These 2 episodes, I didn't ask you guys to rate them at the beginning of what we're doing here, but, like, I don't know, man, I'm just giving it 5 out of 5, both episodes. It's one of the best shows I've ever seen. One of you guys go next.
I will. Okay, so I feel like if I'm putting it, it's kind of the opposite of Silo. I graded it on a curve, and I was like, this isn't as good as some of the other great shows I watched, like Severance. So
Mhm.
I would give it a higher score than I would have like in the realm of TV. But Severance, I would give every episode a 5. So I kind of still have to grade it on like a reverse curve.
Mhm.
I would say like this opening has been like a 4 out of 5. And I'll tell you the one thing that like has bothered me so far that maybe has bumped it down to like a 4 from like a 4.5 or 5 is the whole Heli R thing and how quickly Lumen is like covering that up. I feel like it's a little sloppy.
Hmm.
It's a little sloppy, but let's see where it goes. But the fact that she's giving like a coherent apology speech the same night where she supposedly got too drunk and took too many
Oh,
pills,
yeah.
it's like just a few things about it are like a little sloppy and like it's
Mhm.
not leaking out somehow yet. At least maybe they'll address that later. But
Mhm.
some of that stuff has been a little like, okay, this seems a little too convenient. But
Mhm.
otherwise, it's been amazing.
Mhm. I would give the first episode a 3 out of 5. A 3 is not bad. It's not a bad score to me. And then the second episode, I'll give it a 4 out of 5. And that's mostly because um it gave me answers that I had questions to in episode 1. Because episode 1, when I watched it, I was confused as to like how come the old teammates are back all of a sudden and then the new ones are already out. I was like, he said that he sent them away, and it's like, what? But then that was quickly answered. So I like that we got to see the timeline happen in episode 2, because it just kind of like made things make more sense to me. So I
Yeah,
enjoyed it more for sure.
I think almost like it's been great, but it would have been cool with me if they released episode 1 and 2 at the same
All
time because
together.
they go so well together. And you're
Yeah.
right. Like when I saw episode 1, I thought it was a great episode, but it didn't answer any questions. It just created some new interesting ones that I guess episode 2 ended up answering. But
Yeah. Yeah. So if Severance can keep the same energy for me, like, because again, like I don't want to be like prolonged for so long, and then you're just like not giving me things. But like 1 and 2, like, 1 was a mystery, and then 2 you gave me some of the answers, and then there's still some intrigue left that I want to know answers to. Like, I like that kind of pace. That I can deal with. So
And there's a couple things that I'm curious about. Cobell, number 1. I don't know
yeah,
what Cobell's gonna
why
do,
do they
and I
send
don't
her
think she's gonna be nice.
away exactly? Because she's so like Kier. She's so gun ho about Kier, and then she's the one who tipped them off about the innies being out, and then now they're kind of like shipping her off wherever the fuck.
I mean,
well,
they're
she,
giving her a new position, and
yeah,
it
I think,
seems like
Yeah, but
she
she's
might be
like,
the person who
you're
made
not
those
valuing me, you're
changes.
fearing me, which means
Yeah.
like, she kind of knows they're bullshitting her.
I mean, because she's not severed. They can't really stop it. Like, if she wants to go out and be a whistleblower, like, I guess they
that's
can
true.
send an assassin or
And
something.
she
But we
just,
haven't seen Lumen do that. Has Lumen killed anybody outside of they didn't
We
really
not that
kill
we,
Petey.
we don't
not
know.
that, yeah, we don't know.
Petey just died. Hmm.
Um, yeah, but Cobell is a really interesting one. Like, why did she even live next to Mark in the first place? What was her thing with
She
Mark?
seemed like a
And,
stalker.
Yes.
and
And then remember,
that's,
she seemed disappointed that Mark and Casey don't remember each other. When they
Who's Casey?
that's back in season 1. Miss Casey, his blue
Oh,
oh,
wife,
Gemma. Right.
hmm,
she that was back in season 1
She was
when
trying to stir the pot.
he was in the wellness center. They were doing a wellness thing together. And then Milkshake was like, it's good that they don't remember each other, right? And then you just see Patricia Arquette just like staring and looking disappointed. So we still don't understand that yet.
Because
yeah.
wasn't her thing that she had a family member in a coma? Maybe not. I don't remember. Oh, we also have our good friends Devin and Rickon, who I think Devin is amazing, by the
Who's
way.
Devin again?
Devin is the sister of Mark.
Okay. Hmm.
Early in the episode when Milkchick was sitting down with them in episode 2,
Mhm.
Mark seemed for a second like he was gonna start saying stuff to Milkchick, and like Devin, like with just a look, shut that down. She's incredible, but I wish that I want to see more conversations between Mark and Devin outside of the one that we saw where he doesn't believe, he's like, why are you bringing up that my wife might be alive? I saw her dead body. I wanted more. I wanted more like your innie said this and your innie said that. But maybe we're supposed to assume it happened.
Well, hopefully the sister still stays kind of skeptical and brings it up more in some future episodes because I
I
do
think she
kind of
will.
I want more.
Definitely. I feel like she, on some level, is like convinced he meant it about the wife,
The
and that's
wife.
why she doesn't let it go. And it's
Mhm.
interesting that even with what she knows, she's open to the idea that the wife is alive.
I mean, I would
Yeah.
be. If someone I loved was dead, I know that it's been 2 years and probably not, but I would hope. And then Rickon just cared about his party.
I love how he calls them your worky.
You're
I like
Yeah,
worky.
that. I like that name. I think I like it better than Audi or any.
yeah,
Your worky.
so funny.
I like
I
that
was
one.
expecting a conversation between him and his wife. Like, I thought we were gonna see that. I thought we were gonna see some kind of, like, him being I don't know. I'm expecting Rickon to surprise us this season. I'm expecting him to somehow be a hero at some point.
He's so like into his book.
Hmm.
He was happy about that. He's like, he loved my book.
I mean, but think about it. Like, remember in that episode where he bought all the different size beds for his baby in advance so it wouldn't have the emotional trauma of changing a mattress? Like, he has a good
Yeah.
heart. He's full
No,
of
he's
shit, but
he's
he
a
has a
fun
good heart.
he's a fun, interesting guy, and that was the storyline that made me laugh the most in season one was Mark
The Innies
S.
love his book.
The Innie finding the book.
Like, I
Man,
thought
that was so
Rickon was
good.
gonna be the one saying, like, "It was definitely your innie. He loves my book." Or, like, I was waiting for that. I was waiting for that, and it didn't come.
Your worky.
And I think I guess can we talk about Milkshake's bike and his leather jacket, and he's, like, the coolest guy on earth?
Yeah, but he's like very subtle too. Like he's soft spoken is what I mean.
Yes, it's all like eyes. It's all
Yeah.
like in his eye. Like for me, he's the best actor here,
I
and
was
like
gonna
everyone's
say
an
good
amazing
actor.
actor, right?
Yeah.
Like he's just doing such a good job.
Has
Everyone.
he been in anything else?
I think everyone's killing it.
Um, I don't know.
Everyone really is killing it, but I
Everyone's so
guess
good.
the way they worked on that character and the
Mhm.
subtlety of it and how soft spoken he is, but like very intimidating
He is
is
very intimidating. I would not want to. He's and the little girl kind of takes after him.
I hope
With
we
the
see
oh,
more of
we're
I'm
not
glad we
friends.
br-
I'm your supervisor.
Huang.
yeah, I'm glad we're bringing her up because she was
Mrs.
really funny.
Huang. Yes.
I want to grab her by the neck, shake her. I don't want to see her at all. Um, oh man, does that bring us to everything? These were 2 really great episodes.
Yeah.
I think we
Um,
killed it.
it's
We
not
did
bad.
cover everything.
All right. So, what are you guys watching this week?
Um, hopefully the back of my eyelids. I have trouble sleeping.
I'm
Oh,
sorry to hear that.
well,
Oh, I have the cure for that. It's Eraserhead or 2001: A Space Odyssey
Oh, they're boring.
Eraserhead.
for me.
Yeah. Don't watch Eraserhead. That's like
I think you would
debatably
relate to
scary.
Eraserhead. I think
Eraserhead
you
is
would find
scary.
it relatable.
Oh gosh.
Mhm.
Okay.
Very interesting movie.
Well, I don't
David
want to
Lynch, R.I.P.
have R.I.P.
Oh,
Uh,
speaking of which, I'm trying to watch more Twin Peaks because I never got into it while he was here. But it's just very 90s, so pop it on while I'm working around the house. And
I tried watching it a little bit and it reminded me of the X-Files, but I prefer the X-Files. But I
the thing
didn't finish
is,
Twin
like,
Peaks.
I really want to watch like the modern, like the Return.
Mm.
But
It's with the same actor, right?
I never watched that because I hadn't seen the original seasons. But
That's
Yeah.
I'm just
Firewalk with Me?
Fire Walk with Me is a prequel movie that he made, so there's like a lot to watch before you get to The Return. But I just really wanted to see that because I remember it coming out, and I was like, I really want to watch this, but I have to watch Twin Peaks first. And of course, I waited until David Lynch died for some
Oops.
reason.
That's
But
how it happens with artists.
yeah, I was like, maybe it's time to watch Twin Peaks.
I've never seen it, but I have a restaurant, Twin Peaks, near me.
That's the titty bar.
Is it?
I've seen Twin
The,
Peaks
the,
before.
the peaks are titties.
I've never been.
The
It's like
twins
Hooters.
the twins are titties,
Oh wait,
and
there's
they peek
yeah.
from the shirt, cleavage.
There's twins on the
It's like Hooters. It's like Hooters.
Oh, well, see.
I don't think it actually has anything to do with the show. I've never been to one, but I heard it's like Hooters, and Hooters is kind of delicious.
Hooters
Really?
has awful chicken.
I like their chicken. I mean, not all of it, but at least the
It's
wings.
okay. I don't like their breaded wings. I like their plain wings. They're a
I
little
haven't
better.
been to Hooters in many years.
That was pre-Pandy. So what am
Yeah.
I watching? I just saw Sonic 3. Really enjoyed it. Better than part 1 and part 2.
I have seen both Sonics.
You can watch part 3 and really just you'll get it.
Hmm.
Like it's a kids movie. They'll catch you up. It's very good, very entertaining. Very fun if you've been to Japan. The other one,
Yeah, I love the scene where they go to Japan.
when they were there, I was I watched it last night. I was saying like I have been in and out of the train station in that scene so many times. Like that exact train station stop. It's
Well,
one
yeah,
of
I
the
guess
major ones.
I guess like the whole movie is in Japan. Is that accurate? But I was talking more about like the restaurant they go to.
There's a part where they destroy the Parthenon for like a second. It's so good. Oh, and the restaurant was so Sonic 3 definitely gets my stamp of approval this week. And after this podcast, I will be watching Nosferatu for a palate cleanser.
Oh, there you
But
go.
I think I'm very excited. I think this brings us to the conclusion of the episode. Thank you everyone for joining. I know that I normally cover Sailor Moon, but I haven't made a YouTube video in 7 months. So you
Wow.
could follow me on I know it's terrible. I've been dropping shorts and doing lives with a smiling face, as if that's normal. But I will be making videos on a couple different 1/4 scale Gakabox, Eternal Sailor Moon, Sailor Cosmos, and Eternal Sailor Mars coming right up. But thank you so much to Melissa Berne and our friend Andres, whose channel is upcoming soon. Melissa Berne, you can definitely check her out. I've got a couple playlists here when we covered Silo and House of the Dragon. I also wear wigs for that one too.
Yep.
So thank you all. Thank you to my friends. And I'm going to hit the turn off button and hope that it actually ends it. So, all right, guys. See you.